Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We are getting closer and closer to that massive semi-final match this weekend. It's another derby. It's the penultimate derby of the season, and you could say it's maybe the most important derby of the season. This could be the one that determines whether or not Celtic get a treble this season. We've got a wee bit of build up to it. Ange Postecoglou has gave us a fitness update on some of the players that we're wondering if will be there. So let's talk about that. Hello, like and subscribe if you haven't already. It would be much appreciated. The support recently has been fantastic. I'm looking forward to this weekend. It's a huge game and we're obviously going to build towards it this week. I must say just now, disclaimer, I'll just get the heartbreak out the way for all of you who religiously listen to the show. There will be no Celtic the Thunder preview podcast this week. I know. It's horrifying news, and I imagine you're devastated. Just time constraints for people and clash of dates and etc, etc. We just can't get together to record, basically. And I'm actually going to be at Goodison Park tomorrow night. Don't ask why. I'm going to be at the Everton Newcastle game. So Thursday night recording's out the window and we can't get together on Friday to do it. So there'll be no Celtic the Thunder, sadly. But I'll make up for it with my own content. I'll try and bring you as much as I can. Try and maybe change it up a wee bit as well. Maybe get out and do some location recording. Who knows? But we're going to build towards that derby. And Ange Postecoglou has gave us a bit of information heading into that derby. So obviously the last few weeks Celtic have had their fair share of injury and fitness issues. We've missed some key players. And some players have been on the sidelines missing out in games. We've felt the impact of it, haven't we? Let's be real. Against Motherwell, we dropped points. We didn't look our sharpest. Even in the couple of games beforehand, you've noticed the difference without the likes of Hatate in the team. There's no denying that these injuries have played their part in Celtic's recent form. We've still managed to get through it all. We've still been great. But, you know, it's just those slight intricacies in games that you can tell you're missing a certain player giving you that certain edge. The main one for me being Hatate, who I've already name dropped. But we have missed some big players, and I think that this weekend coming, with the magnitude of the game that we are playing, we want our best team. We want the fittest back. But the question is, are we going to have them back? Are we going to have them back in time at 100%? There's so much that goes with it. Ange Postecoglou, he spoke to Celtic TV, I think yesterday, and gave us a light update on it. And what I would say is a kind of positive update on it. There's no guarantees, but it's better to hear what we've heard from him than, you know, a complete no, they won't be available. So let's have a look at what he said about the injured players. So, talking about Abada, Jota and Hatate, this is what the manager had to say. He said, we'll see how they go. Abada, Jota and Rio are the main three. They are due to train all week, so it will just come down to how they go during the training week. If they get through the training week, they will be available. Everyone got through the weekend okay. It's only really James Forrest who probably won't be available come the semi-final. So, as usual, no guarantees. Take everything with a pinch of salt, but more positive than negative, I would say. I like to hear that there is a good chance of them being available than not available whatsoever. The only player we know who won't be available is James Forrest. And no disrespect to James Forrest, but I think he's probably the one that everybody has kind of forgotten about amongst the fitness issues right now. Everybody's wanting Hatate back. Everybody's wanting Jota back. And I think a hell of a lot of people are wanting to see Abada back, even if there's talk about him leaving the club. These are three players who've had such a massive impact on this side over the last 2 years. And players who've had a massive impact against Rangers over the last 2 years. You look at all these guys, they've scored goals against Rangers. Hatate, we know that the famous double he got last February. Abada, he's scored against Rangers for fun. Jota has scored some absolute worldies and memorable goals against Rangers. These are three players who directly influence the course of the game against their arch rivals, and we need them in a game the size of the Scottish Cup semi-final, which could determine the treble chances for Celtic. Now, the obvious talking point is how fit will they be, because Ange has said that he'll wait and see how they get through the training week. If they get through the week, they'll be available, and I'm supposing if they don't get through the week, they won't be available. So will they be ready to start? Will they be fit enough to start? Now, one thing I will say is Ange always keeps his cards close to his chest. We've seen him bluff in the past. We've seen him tell a wee lie or two, and then someone's back in the team when you least expect it. And maybe he's not wanting to give too much away. But in general, I think that we are looking at 3 players here who I wouldn't have your money on all 3 of them to start on Sunday. I think a push, maybe 1 or 2, might be back in time, but are they ready to come in? The manager will assess that. He won't make any foolish or rash decisions because he's got a squad there that's good enough anyway. Even without these 3 guys, yeah, we are worse. We're worse off. We don't have the same quality without those 3 players, but we still have significant quality and we still have players who are good enough to do the job. These guys coming off the bench is still a benefit and a blessing for Celtic. So Ange won't rush them into the team if they're not ready. If I see any of their their names on the team sheet on Sunday, I'll be confident that Ange has done it because he's confident they're ready for it. Not just because it's Jota or Hatate, because they're ready and because they're willing to go on. So I'm not all that bothered about if they're ready or not, because I think the manager will make the right decision. But I'm just happy to see that they're in training and that there's a possibility they will be back because they're players that I really want to see in this game. I think if you look at the last couple of derbies, the one at Ibrox back in January and even the last one at Celtic Park, Celtic haven't been at their best moving up the park. We haven't been the smoothest. And you know, we've had our strongest players available in these games, but you still don't want to lose someone like Hatate, especially the vision that he brings into the midfield. I feel like in the derby, especially the derby in Celtic Park, the last derby, I think in the midfield we struggled. Remember we talked about how Moy had a very poor game that day. You want somebody like Hatate back and fit for this game. So if I was to choose out of any, just a hypothetical situation, if you were to sit here just now, I want to hear your thoughts. If only one of the 3 could start on Sunday, who would you pick? I know I'd be picking Hatate. That's the one that I would want for this game against Rangers to start. But we are hearing good things, positive updates, and that's what matters most. Ange also spoke about the post-split fixtures, which we made a video on yesterday. If you haven't watched it, feel free to go back and see it. He commented in that same interview talking about his disappointment that Celtic won't play at Celtic Park for a couple of weeks. Of course, we've got Hearts and Rangers away from home first, and it won't be until the 3rd game that we're finally back at Paradise. So Ange said it's a bit of a challenge, I guess, for those doing it. I would have liked to have had at least 1 home game in those first 2, just because it means that, again, our supporters won't see us for 3 weeks. It would have been nice, but ultimately it is what it is. So just a little bit down about the fact we've got to wait to be back at Celtic Park. And, you know, it's sad altogether when you think about it, knowing that there is only 2 games left at Celtic Park. And that's us for the summer. We'll have to wait until August when we're all back in, or late July. Yeah, we'll have to wait until we're all back in. Which, yeah, it's a bit of a gutter, but I guess, as Ange said, it is what it is. There's not much we could do about it with the fact that we only do have 2 home games left. We're one of the ones that don't have 3 left. We've only got 2. I think Ange is probably more devastated. We don't get a chance to secure the title at Celtic Park. I think he's maybe keeping that one hidden a little bit. Would have been nice if our first game was at Parkhead and we could have secured the league title in front of a sold-out Celtic Park, but the title party's still coming. You know, we've got plenty of celebrations to go. Let's get more celebrations booked in with a win on Sunday, and we'll be in a very good place. Anyway, that's the updates for now. Let me know what you think on the injury status update. Hopefully we see all 3 players back on Sunday at some point in the game. 90 minutes, 30 minutes, I don't care. Let's get them back in. I want to see our best at their best. And Angel obviously judged that through the week. So yeah, there's your update. That'll do it for today. A bit of a shorter one, but not much else to talk about. We'll be back tomorrow to talk about the Player of the Year awards, which the voting is now open for. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. Yeah, that'll do it for today. Cheerio.